Hello, everyone. Welcome to another night of Moffat on Money. Sorry to be a little late or delayed there. Was actually kind of chatting with Ellen. As you'll notice, she's not joining us right now, so that's a little different. The reason is she is at her grandfather's, and the signal there is apparently exceedingly poor. But she is heading to the hotel, and when she gets in the hotel and gets in, she'll try to join us. I don't know exactly how long that will take, but hopefully soon. I would also, kind of like to brag on her a little bit. Ellen has some gifts. She well, look, I guess I'll just start off. If you remember, her grandfather is 96 years old, somewhere around there. And his wife is probably 10 years younger. I actually don't know her exact age. But she broke her foot about a month ago. Been, bedridden in the hospital ever since. They don't want to release her because she can't walk. They want her to be able to walk first. Well, obviously he can't take care of her. He can't, lift, move, whatever. And so Ellen has been uh working with his insurance company. He's done some digging, working with his insurance company and some of the docs or whatever, and has gotten her approved for home health care. So she can come home, they'll have care of her, and also give her in-home physical therapy. So she's really in a day or two done yeoman's work and really greatly changed their lives, made everybody much happier. And that's just kind of what Ellen does. She has some unique gifts. she what's the old adage? She has some unique skills. She's not scary, definitely not scary, but she really makes a difference in people's lives when she sees a need. I don't know how many of you knew or remember Secret, for example, but Ellen was the one that got the fundraiser for her started to try to get her some people to help her at home because she was living alone and really having a hard time. And she got, some of the LawTube channels, Rob and Ian to help, contribute, and they did great effort raising a bunch of money. Now she passed before she could take advantage of it, but nonetheless, that's just kind of the person Ellen is, and really gifted with a very sweet spirit. So when she joins us, y'all give her a little round of applause or just share the quan. Got to say hey to everybody. I see KP and Brentwood join. Crazy Cat Queen, good to see you. Sandy, hello Sandy. Appreciate you joining us tonight. So without Ellen, have no fear. You won't have to stare at my mug all night, you know, on its own. Actually have a couple of guests joining us, at least, for a little while. Ellen will join us. I do want to make that clear. She's driving to her hotel. But I have two guests. First, I'll introduce David Yoakum and then Zach Vasquez. These are two former students of mine. And I'm actually pleased to say that, though in many cases I'm not. They barely passed my class, but nonetheless, I still like them. They're still not altogether horrible guys. So, very pleased to be joined by David and Zach. Good to see you too.
Yeah, thank you for having us. How are you?
Good to see you.
Doing well. It's been a good day. A little warm and muggy. The heat and the humidity is about to get me, but just can't get acclimated to it because I'm not outside much anymore. spend too much time inside. So, how are y'all doing? Good day, I hope.
Doing good. It's
Yeah.
nice weather.
Yeah, these are really two of the finer people that I've been privileged to work with down through the years. Zach was on the CFA competition team. The CFA competition team is a team that takes a firm who's agreed to have, to participate in a statewide competition where each school that competes puts up an analysis, a real world analysis of that firm, of its marketing, its ESG, its competitive positioning, and a valuation using different valuation techniques. And I'm not going to lie, this was one of the best groups of people in terms of teams that we've had. They should have won. I can be biased and still be honest. Actually, first time in my life I've ever had a competitive team where people came up afterwards, including one judge, and apologized to us for us not winning. I won't go into the details, but was extremely proud of these guys, and they deserve to win. If you win the state, you go to the regional. You go to the regional, you go to the nationals. So they did an outstanding job. David wasn't on the team, didn't even try for a slot, but he did have an internship, hell of a good internship. He was working. And that's part of the reason, or, part of what he'll be talking about tonight is what he did as an intern and the information and all he gleaned from that. So I think it'll be an interesting time. David is actually going to talk some about technical investing, which is a love and passion of his. I think don't you run a little Twitter site?
I do. I'm trying to get it back up and running because I'm working with compliance right now to make sure I can still post, but it's
I didn't even think about that, but yeah, that's an issue.
Yeah. I'm confident I'll get it back up and running soon.
I hope so.
So Moffat, have you had any other guest speakers on your show? Yes,
I had a guy who has a large YouTube channel called Ian Runkle.
Okay.
He and another LawTube channel, Rob, were actually very helpful in getting this channel started. So we have a good relationship with them. Going to have him back on. Haven't really had something that has a legal aspect to it again. Mm-hmm. Now with the trial of Sam Bankman-Fried coming up, FTX, maybe another opportunity there to spend an evening with him and get his perspective on some of the legal issues. Runkle of the Bailey, yes, Brentwood Sheik. Runkle of the Bailey is a Canadian attorney, which is interesting because he's very big in Second Amendment issues, even up in Canada. And he won in state of Texas, and I forget the group, but there's a group that gives out awards to social media folks for their support of the Second Amendment. And Ian won their Dude of the Year award. I don't know the exact title of it, but he's an interesting guy. The Gundys. Yes. Thank you.
The Gundys. That's cool.
The Gundys. It's a great name for an award, but yes, the Gundys.
That's awesome.
So David, why don't you kick off and tell us a little bit about you, your background, and your particular passion for technical investing?
Sure. Yeah. So I had the privilege of going to UNCW and taking a few of Dr. Moffat's classes. That's how we were able to connect. Throughout college, I started my sophomore going into junior year. I worked a little over a year for a fintech company called TrendSpider. So TrendSpider is a technical analysis platform. Basically, the gist of it would be that they create stock charts, and they have a software where you can just create your own charts and look at historical stock price data and everything like that. So from there, I decided to take an internship over this summer, which was with, it was called Adaptive. It was an investment team based out of Wisconsin, an RIA firm, which is a registered investment advisory firm. So they were primarily technical based. So everything we did was coming from charts, which I'll get into at some point here tonight, but had the privilege of working with them and learned a ton. Following that, I was able to land a position with Barings, which is an asset manager here, headquartered in Charlotte, where Zach and I both room together. So me and him, and then along with one other roommate from UNCW, all live together here in Charlotte. But I'm doing portfolio oversight for them. So just looking over some of the fixed income portfolios they have, a little bit different of a role that I've had previously, but definitely a great gig that I've gotten myself into. And Dr. Moffitt helped kind of guide me through some of that process with preparing for interviews, and then also just weighing decisions. And he was a big help in that. So yeah, that's a little bit about my background.
Zach, tell us a little bit about your background.
Yeah, for sure. So very similar story to David. We are roommates living here in Charlotte. I did have the privilege of having Dr. Moffitt for 2 classes. I had him for blockchain as well as fixed income derivatives. And it ended up paying off with the fixed income derivative side. That's kind of where I landed a role in full time now. So in Charlotte, currently working on the Wells Fargo trading floor, the fixed income trading floor, and I'm on the structured products group. So I'm covering everything from residential mortgage-backed securities to commercial mortgage-backed securities, CLOs, CMOs, asset-backed securities. And during my training, I was able to apply a lot of what Dr. Moffitt was teaching and harping on and hammering into our brains. There was people from Chapel Hill who didn't know some of the concepts that Moffitt probably taught 3 times, or, coming from the Ivy Leagues, and, Moffitt prepared us, I think, almost better. I'm happy to be here tonight. Glad we can get the chat going and the conversation.
Yeah, my goal in teaching is to try to do everything I can to make sure my students pay outrageous taxes.
That we do.
You have only just begun. It is only going to get worse. And but hey, I'll have when I get set up there in the mountains, I'll have a guest bedroom. Y'all can come up and see a little bit about what you're buying, because you won't get a dime of it.
The Ponzi scheme, we're still alive. Some
Do
would say
what?
it's worse than Madoff, the Ponzi scheme that's running on right now.
It's going to be interesting. I don't know if they're going to address it or just wait till it utterly collapses. Be better to go ahead and address it and buy some more time. But hey, I'm in part of the group that I'm pretty sure I'm going to get mine. Y'all are screwed. I'm going to get mine.
Oh yeah.
Thanks to you.
We know.
But yeah, I really, and I'm not just, I'm not real good at bullshitting, but these are 2 young men that I honestly enjoyed working with. They were a delight and privilege. I would say that they came into my office and asked a lot of questions. I do have some students like that, but they really didn't. They would come in and talk, come by and say, hey, ask a few questions about any different type of topic. But they were curious enough on their own, disciplined enough on their own, if there was something in the material that they had questions about or wanted further explanation, they would do their own digging. And I admire the hell out of that. I respect the hell out of that. I wish I could take credit for that, but I cannot. I shared some things with them. I don't know really how much of it was the things I shared or actually their own digging. I would strongly suspect it's more of the latter than the former, but I'm damn proud of them, damn proud to know them. So Crazy Cat Queen. Yes, because Clay and the rest of us retirees would like our Social Security, please. You're damn right. Oh, also, Sam Bankman Fried. That last bit is pronounced Freed. I always call him Fried because it annoys Ellen. And so now I'm in the habit of it. So.
Well, it almost sounds like fraud.
Yeah.
Sam Bankman Fraud.
That actually would be better. While we've had a couple of shows on him, and I had to go to just call him SBF or Sam, just because I was so used to saying Fried. And Ellen would you got to know Ellen. She'll give me hell back behind the scenes. Crazy Cat Queen. So you help train rabbit chasers. Down the rabbit hole they go. They actually came to me that way. That was none of my doing. I might have taken advantage of it a little bit, but that was none of my doing. Zach and David, what's the one thing you wish you could go back and tell your younger self to focus on in school? Good question.
You got it, Zach.
Let's see. I guess this might sound a little cheesy, Brentwood, but probably, stop and smell the roses, because college goes by so fast, especially school. It's just summer after summer after summer, and the next thing you know, you're in a job, and you're not going back to school in August. So it's a quick, 3.5, 4 years for most people, and so definitely focus on enjoying your time and not worrying about. It's important to get everything done and achieve goals, especially if you want to set yourself up for certain things after college. But I would definitely say that's the last 4 years till retirement, that you're going to have free time to go to the beach, go hang out with your friends, and just take advantage of the free time that you do have after prioritizing school.
Yeah, I'll definitely piggyback off that. I'd say dating back to high school, as much as I hate to admit it, I was always the type of guy that would do the bare minimum to skate by. So I kind of regret that about myself. I started to turn that around probably near the end of my junior year in college. So it really took me a good long while to figure that out. In terms of school, I always loved studying on my own for certain interests, like technical analysis that I'll touch on today. But definitely wish I had kind of applied myself earlier. But I'm also under the belief that God has his plans and kind of worked out in the best. So maybe if I was a valedictorian in high school, I wouldn't have met Dr. Moffitt and learned the skills I did during college. And so, I just believe that it worked out for the best, and I'm glad I learned from it. And I definitely try to apply myself where I'm at now. So that's probably the biggest thing I'd focus on is really just applying myself.
I would say you might have even done better, but you've done exceedingly well. So I don't know. And I'll say this. I saw a Harvard study talking about keys to success. And one of the big keys, particularly for young kids, young teens, older teens, is who do they pick as friends? Because you are who you keep company with in terms of their habits, their distractions, their own personal discipline. It is easy to kind of degrade to the lowest common denominator in a lot of ways. And these two men have done exceedingly well in that regard, choosing who they are friends with and who they spend their time with. And I think that's a big reason of their success as well.
Hey, everybody.
Crazy Cat Queen. Sam Bankman fraud. I love it. It shall be.
I'm having trouble
so
with sound. I'm going to have to log off and get on another network. Hang on.
Can you
Okay.
not hear us? Because we can hear you. Okay.
She gone.
She'll be back.
Now, Crazy Cat Queen, make sure that if you use that that's copyrighted on this channel, that you give us the props. All right. Well, Ellen's going to join us here shortly again. Ellen. But hope she can get her channel and all worked out. David, why don't you start off telling it? Well, I tell you what, if Ellen's going to bounce on real quick, she'll want to say hey or whatever. So we'll give her a second to do that.
Sure.
KP, no worries. You can apply yourself super hard now and reap the benefits of it. We all wish we could have done certain things differently. Crazy Cat Queen. I will give Zach the credit. Yes, absolutely. That'll work. It was a very appropriate description. So, I'm sitting here thinking, where's Ellen? She ought to be popping back on here, but there she is. Hopefully is. Come on, E-Train. You can do this.
I can hear you, but have you told everybody that I just finished easy offing an entire gas stove top because I look like crap right now? I apologize profusely.
Well, from what I can tell, I can
But
honestly
they deserve
say
a warning.
I've seen you look better. But
Ha ha ha. I can't. Okay.
yeah, I have not told people. And just to be sure, she had no pictures. The only reason I said that. Now she's back. I guess she forgave me. Come on, Ellen.
It's been a long day. It has been such a long day trying to get everybody settled. And everyone is settled and fed and on their way to bed. So,
well,
hi, everybody.
Let's just be honest. Yeah. She was with her 96-year-old grandfather who basically hadn't really cleaned the house too well. Shock. I know that's kind of a major shock. And that's what
it's not. No. Hang on. Back up. That's not exactly.
Will you tell the story?
Okay. So my grandfather is married to this lovely woman named Betty, who is about 11 years younger than he is. I think Clay told you she was in a rehab center right now. I was cooking for my grandfather on their gas stove, and I realized that it's all grease. Like the rest of the house is immaculate, except for they have a daughter that one of her daughters lives with them. Not so immaculate, but we won't go there. But the stove, all of the igniters were covered in grease. And I told Clay this, and he said exactly what I was thinking, which is grease fire. So I was like, it's a shame for a man to be 96 years old. If he goes to cook something on the stove, he might burn the whole place down. And not even, So after 3 or 4 different spraying easy off on, using the Brillo pads, rinsing it off, easy off, Brillo pads, the house will not burn down. So I'm pretty excited about that. But yeah, that's what I've been doing all afternoon. So yay. Since about 2 o'clock. Before then, I was at the rehabilitation center with my grandfather and his wife. And thankfully, she is able to come home now. He was terrified. He's like, I can't take care of her. I don't know what to do. She's never going to come home. I'm going to be without her forever. And it's kind of funny. You're 96 years old. Okay. But I mean, he loves her to death. And so after some work on the phone, I have never seen anybody who has better insurance And no, none of y'all will ever see insurance this good. He retired from Union Camp in '84. He retired early. He had another business that he was doing at the same time. His maximum out of pocket for the year is $1,000. His deductible is $50. Everything they pay for his Part B Medicare, he pays like nothing. So thankfully, he, $1,000 max out of pocket is just stupid. I mean, you will never find that. I mean, when I was, doing Medicare, I think the lowest, even for a drug plan, was like $7,000 out of pocket. And that's just the drug plan. And no plan B taken care of whatsoever. I mean, just, anywho. So they get 80 home health care visits, which is like a 12-hour shift per year for free. And they also get unlimited physical therapy visits at their house. So he was just like, he was so excited. I mean, his face just beamed when I got off the phone with the insurance agent. And he just kept telling his wife, "You're going to be able to come home, honey. You're going to be able to come home. Ellen's got it all figured out. You're going to be able to come home." And so it was just, oh, thank you, Brentwood. But it was really good because her whole mood changed. His whole mood changed. And they have some hope now, which is, I guess, why I came up here. I didn't know what I was exactly getting into. But anyway, sorry.
Well, I'm glad it got resolved.
That's
That's good news.
Yeah, you have
It
used
is,
the time
it is,
exceedingly
and,
well.
Well, yeah, to see a 96-year-old man so freaking happy. I mean,
It's awesome.
he's his mind's slipping a little, but physically, he's fine. I mean, no health problems, nothing. Oh, y'all are so sweet. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I was going to stay at his house, and he said, "Well, we have a warmish extra bedroom." Warmish doesn't go well with menopause. So I said, "I'll get a hotel room. Thanks."
Yeah, warmish is like
Couldn't do
80
it.
degrees. I think Ellen's got her hotel room at 64 if you want to know the difference there. That's called the menopause gap.
Yeah. Because we get hot. We get super hot.
Yeah, while everybody else freezes.
I'm still having a little lag in the video.
Crazy Cat Queen, my one
What's
piece
that,
of
Zach?
advice, travel while you are single.
Yep.
Once you get married, trying to manage vacation schedules, agreeing on a place to travel is a bear. Yeah, particularly while you're young, don't take out a lot of debt, get in a lot of expenses. You'll have career options, choices. You'll want to be able to pick up and move quickly till you find something that you really, really want to settle in for the rest of your life. So just stay flexible. But yeah, Ellen went up there expecting, a little bit different scenario, but has adapted extremely well. And she's made her grandfather, who she adores, who was a big hero to her when she was young, has absolutely made him just giddy. So, good job.
I'm going to actually send you a picture of he and his wife, Clay. I'm going to email it to you. Oops.
Work email?
Y'all can keep talking. Go ahead. Sure.
Yeah, I'm thinking, David, Zach, I don't know what y'all's schedule is, but let's go ahead and, David, I know you had some things to share as far as technical. And last Saturday, you were on, we got a question about MACD and mentioned that we would, spend a little time tonight giving you some opportunity to share your passion on technical investing. How do you, describe a little bit of technical investing, some of your favorite indicators and how you use them?
Yeah, I actually put it together a few slides just to kind of go through some of the basics and what I like to look for. So let me try to get my screen up here. Make sure. window. All right, that should pop up there. Can you see it?
Yep, there it is.
Yeah, we can see it.
Sweet. So just viewing the market from a technical lens, technical analysis is the study of historical price data in the market. For example, if you want to look at, the S&P 500 or the Dow Jones, you can really go back to their inception and really try to understand their trends, kind of how a stock moves, a index moves, a commodity. Really anything that has a price, you can do technical analysis on, as long as there's enough data to really look at. So really the advantage of using technical analysis and the goal, just like anything in the market, is trying to understand where the market's going next and how to first really manage your risk. And that's really primarily my favorite part of technical analysis, that I think has the advantage of over some fundamental traders, investors, and other strategies is really just knowing when to manage risk and to cut your losses short, along with just trying to give yourself the best risk to reward you can. So here you can see I have just a chart of the S&P 500. This is a daily chart. So each one of those little bars you see there actually represents a day of price action. So each bar is going to be anything from the low to the high, and that's going to also have the opening price at 9:30 and the closing price at 4. So that's the basics of the chart, and this goes back to 2022 here on this specific one. But I want to get into some of the indicators, and I know we mentioned MACD, which will come after the first couple basic ones, but there's really 3 main indicators that people like to look for in the market. But before, actually, I forgot I had this slide here. This is the AI, artificial intelligence ETF. So this really just tries to compile all the different big AI stocks. And the reason I bring this up is trying to show the advantage of technical analysis over some other strategies. Not to say that anyone is perfect over another or better, but just a reason to consider technical analysis. Often price is moving quicker than news. So typically news will follow, unless it's an event happening today that, a war broke out like we saw back in 2021 or anything like that. Usually price is going to precede news events. So here you can see artificial intelligence. That really didn't become a big topic until this year. But you can see artificial intelligence by this chart actually bottomed a little bit before November of last year. And started to create higher highs and higher lows, which is kind of the basics of price action. You really just want to see a chart going from the bottom left to the top right. That just shows you prices going up and there's more buyers than sellers. But with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and get into a couple of the couple indicators. And Dr. Moffitt, feel free to stop me at any point if you'd like. Moving averages is one of the most popular. The 2 most commonly used that you'll see on CNBC and other platforms would be the 50-day and the 200-day. So what these do is they take the average price, the closing price of the last 50 days or 200 days, and it just plots them on a chart. So when you see a candle that's above the 200-day, that means it is higher than the average of the last 200 days, and same thing for the 50-day. So ideally, in an uptrend, you're going to see the 50-day and the 200-day starting to move up, and that's kind of your signal for a trend. Some people like to use it as buy and sell signals, which I actually did do a brief back test just to show you. This does look pretty complex, but I'll try to break it down. So this strategy here is just buying when the stock price is over the 200-day moving average on the S&P 500. So you'll see over the last 28 years, if you bought above the 200-day and you sold whenever price was below the 200-day moving average, you make 385%, while the S&P made 677%. So underperformed by a good bit. The one benefit of this strategy really is going to be that max drawdown. So this could be a better strategy for people later in their careers, nearing retirement. The max drawdown was 28%, while the same max drawdown for the S&P was
Hey,
around.
David,
Yep. Go for it.
can you explain a drawdown for those that may not
Sure.
know what that is?
Yeah, so maximum drawdown is if you were to buy at the highest point at any cycle and held to the lowest point at any cycle, what was the percentage change there? So let's say you bought before the 2008 crash. If you just happened to be the most unlucky person in the world and buy at the highest price before that crash, and you held it to the bottom of that crash, you would have been down roughly 55%. So really, it's just trying to show max drawdown is typically a unrealistic scenario. That's just showing you if you happen to be the most unlucky investor ever, like Jim Cramer, you would be down 28% during that time. So that's the basics of.
Kramer's always right.
Look, if he's long NVIDIA, I'm going short NVIDIA, and if he's short NVIDIA, I'm going long. That's kind of how I think.
The best thing you can say about Kramer
Did
is he's
Moffitt teach you
consistent.
that?
Yep,
Consistently wrong.
exactly.
Yes. He's a prophet.
He really is. I had the
I love
pleasure.
the guy.
I had the pleasure of working with this guy that ran a Twitter account called Inverse Kramer. I think he's got like 150,000 followers now on Twitter. Anytime Kramer
Oh my
tweets,
gosh.
he does the opposite. I mean, it's phenomenal. It's good stuff.
Does he have any part with the inverse
That's
fund?
pretty funny.
Yeah, I think now I could be wrong. I thought he was the person that started that fund. Maybe not. That was after my time with my previous company. That was a little bit more in the recent past, but I do think that's the guy. He was a pretty smart guy, but he liked to have fun with Kramer. So
I mean, it's a target-rich environment.
Hey, David, I have a technical analysis question. I mean, this was all really interesting. Thanks for bringing it on. But so recently, in the past, few months, there's been a lot of, I guess, tech-heavy stocks that are performing extremely well. And I'm wondering, what does the technical analysis say about the market right now? Are we going to keep? Are these, I guess, high PE stocks going to just keep going up and up, or is it signaling maybe that it's going to be a little more bearish in the future?
yeah, without looking at a chart, I remember when people were saying NVIDIA at 150 PE was insane. Now it's around 400. Moffitt, I know you know the old adage, the market can stay. You're going to have to help me out here. The market can stay irrational longer than you can stay solvent. Is that right?
The market can stay stupid longer than you can stay solvent. Yes.
There it is. But yeah, for your question, if I go back to this BOTS ETF, so what I like to look for on a chart really is just a stock making higher highs and a stock making higher lows. That's what each of those little arcs on that stock on that chart mean. So you can see that actually AI is starting to create a lower low. You can see that little arc that I had from a couple months ago. Prices starting to break down. Now, of course, just like anything in the market, nothing is ever perfect. So who's to say that this couldn't just rebound and continue higher? But I do think there are some warning flags out there. And then you combine that with some of the more fundamental factors that I know Dr. Moffitt's talked about on here, and you'll see in the news headlines, mortgages at 25-year highs. I do think there is a reason to be cautious, but that's not to say I believe there's a reason to be 100% cash either. So I usually let price aside. It's more of a matter of trying to just manage your risk as best as you can. Hopefully that gives you a good answer.
No, it does. It's very interesting. I was hoping, Moffitt, I guess kind of over to you. How does this compare to the .com bubble, this new AI bubble? What do you think? Are there many similarities? Because I mean, these companies make some of them do actually bring in a lot of money, but I don't know.
Yeah, in the .com, there were so many companies. There was one company, Global Crossings, that got up to $220 a share in late, was it 99 or 2000? It didn't have a single dollar in earnings. And it was trading, I don't know, a billion shares, had a absolutely insanely stupid valuation. AOL, y'all may not really appreciate AOL. Any of y'all old timers remember the dial-up tone to log into AOL? Yeah, you play that for
Absolutely.
the kids today, and they're just completely mystified. They have no idea. But using the old modem, and you had the audio handshake. But AOL went from $12 to over $200. And then, in the crash, it was back down to 25 to 15. The valuations were just insanely stupid because of nothing to do with cash flow. Now, Nvidia got some crazy valuations. I saw one calculation that to justify that valuation, you were basically factoring in 40 years worth of earnings. Something insanely stupid like that. So there are certainly outliers. I don't think the whole AI industry has taken off quite like that. I think people are still uncertain about it. They don't really know what it is. They maybe fear some of the prospects of it. Some of the doomsday scenarios, I think, make people a little bit more hesitant to invest in it. So I don't know, but I don't see any kind of systemic valuation that we saw in the .com bubble. Anything that's that extreme. There are obviously individual exceptions, but as far as the whole industry, no.
Okay. Well, appreciate it. Yeah, thank you.
I will. Would you like me to get through the rest of this? I'll try to make it quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sure. So the one after this, I'll get into the MACD, but RSI is also another popular indicator alongside moving averages. So the RSI is better known as the Relative Strength Index. Now, at the bottom of the screen, that's going to be the indicator itself. So what this aims to do is to try to find overbought or oversold conditions in the market. Now, you can see I have about 5 vertical lines there on the chart. Those correlate with price or the indicator itself hitting that lower band there. So on the RSI, there's 2 different bands. There's going to be, it's rated 0 to 100. Overbought's going to be at 70, and the oversold's going to be at 30. So the belief with using the indicator is that when you're getting around that 30 and lower range, you're going to be oversold, and it could be a better long-term buying opportunity. And the same can be said for the 70 and above being a good selling opportunity, trying to just get a mean reversion, for lack of better words, for the market to go down. So as you can see, when it touches, at least in the past on the S&P here, it's done pretty well in the future. You can see the last couple signals that we got in 2022 didn't play out too well in the short term, but we are above those prices now. So just like anything else in the market, it's not going to be perfect, but just another thing that you can add to your toolkit. And then MACD. So MACD is going to be very similar to the RSI when you're trying to find oversold or overbought conditions. Now there's 2 lines on the MACD. There are 2 different moving averages, and it's plotting them on a indicator similar to the RSI down there at the bottom. Now, when the shorter term crosses the longer term average, the histogram there is going to go green, and that's going to be called a bullish cross, meaning you'd expect or hope for price to go up from there once the shorter term is above the longer term, and vice versa for the other side. So when the shorter term drops below the longer term, you might be able to expect or anticipate a drop in the market. So each time here that the market crossed up, I highlighted with the vertical bars, it's definitely a lagging indicator along with RSI and some of the others. And what I mean by that is these all come from price. So price is always going to be the most instant. It's going to be what you see at the moment, and all the indicators will follow behind that. So you can see this doesn't time bottoms perfectly. It typically comes after them, but it is just another signal in the market that some people use to try to find an oversold or overbought condition. And then from
You
here,
got a question there, David.
sure. Are there certain areas of AI that are better?
It's on the bottom.
Are there certain areas of AI that are better risk than others, like healthcare AI? Reading lots of industry news about AI and radiology. To be completely honest, I only know a few stocks in AI. Healthcare related, I do know Intuitive Surgical. That's actually the top holding behind NVIDIA and the bots ETF I was showing earlier. So they're creating AI to create robots to do brain surgery and all this other types of surgery, which in my opinion, I see that being a longer term play. That's just for humanity's sake, I hope that those surgical robots can do better than just a computer or a gaming system for someone. So I like to think money might be more of use in that area, but maybe Dr. Moffitt could be a better answer for this one.
I don't know about better, but my thoughts on AI are basically that it's the cool term, it's the cool phrase, and a lot of people want to be on the AI bandwagon, so to speak. Really, we have a hard time defining AI. Now, the way I see AI is that a computer that learns and adapts. A computer that not only has information streams, but that seeks out different information streams as the circumstances warrant. Every computer takes data and analyzes it, and if it's above this number, below this number, it can issue a different command. That to me is not really AI. A lot of what's being sold as AI now is just superior processing power, being able to do that calculation on a faster basis. So
I've got to interrupt real quick. Clay,
yes.
I have been trying to edit the screen to move me below Zach. And I think that might be something you have to do. Thank you. That way the comments don't cover him and they can cover me.
Yeah. So that's my thoughts on AI. If y'all will excuse me for a second, I'm hearing the cat scream, so I'm going to go check that out. And I'll be right back in a minute.
Sounds good.
Yeah, I mean, I guess while we're on topic, I'll go over what I've been seeing for AI wise. I mean, literally last year you had every public company was saying, oh, we're automating to improve efficiencies. Great. And then this year they just replaced that with saying, oh, we're using AI to improve efficiencies. And I mean, it means the same thing. People have been using algorithmic that software developers to improve their businesses, and now they're just like Moff said, using a buzzword. Oh, we're using AI to their advantage, which I mean, it's working for some part. I mean, there a lot of people are buying into it.
Well, let me ask you this: there's AI Clayton and I talked about this a couple weeks ago. That it's closed AI, but now they're starting to do open AI that can
Mhm.
search everything, every how, everywhere. Do y'all see that as a dangerous thing, or do you see it as helpful, or neither?
I think it's dangerous for sure. I'm a big fan of Elon Musk. I just love his influence and how he's
Yeah.
been able to kind of pioneer AI along with just electric cars and everything in general that he's done, SpaceX. And he warns about the use of open AI. He thinks it's something that legislators should take a look at. And when I see someone that I think is maybe the smartest man in the world, at least businessman, say something like that, I'll typically that typically raises a red flag for me. So I do think there's definitely a need for legislators to take a second look at AI and how it's being used.
And Zach, what do you think?
Yeah, both. I mean, it can be used for good and bad, just like anything else. It depends. I guess we can start with the good. The good would definitely be someone like myself or someone who's never taken a coding class before could go on there and have it write a code for you to say you wanted to make a website or learn something on Excel. Yeah, huge. Like that's pretty big. The biggest downside I see is it affecting probably education. I think, they give iPads to fifth graders nowadays. So they're, what incentive as a fifth grader do I have to read the book, take the test, learn the math problem, learn, just basic things you need to contribute to society? Why would I learn anything if I could just ask open AI and get a perfect score on it? So I think you got to be careful what people have access, and I think it could have a negative impact on education.
Yeah, if it were up to me, I'd
I
like to
agree.
see computers and
What do you
calculators
think?
removed out of elementary school. Make them learn to do.
That's a good
Make them
idea.
learn the
So,
multiplication tables again. Make them learn cursive. Make them learn how to
so
do
there's,
basic addition,
sorry,
subtraction in their head.
I'm in a thought stream, and if you let me, I got to go through with it or I'll forget it. So
No,
what
go
do you
ahead.
think? Okay, so there's a black box in the markets, all the little financial stuff. How do you think open AI in that scenario
Will
would
affect
work?
the financial markets.
If there's an open AI in black box of the financial markets, of the trading.
See, there's algos out there currently that are, that are that certain, I guess you could call them, I don't know, software developers have made, financial software developers. And the thing is, it's interesting. Some days they'll come into the market. It's big in the high yield bond space right now. They'll come into the market and they'll just buy, and all the broker dealers, all the big banks will just rip it off and have a field day. They'll sell them at outrageous prices that are not the market, and it's a computer with a lot of money that they're happy to rip off. And then other days it's vice versa, where since they're moving huge size, they'll come in and they're just I guess trying to unload their entire balance sheet, and all the banks have to absorb that, and then everybody's losing. So it's definitely not the smartest right now. And I don't know. There's a lot of human things that you do need to be able to pinpoint and understand and need to know,
I agree.
and that I think are going to be hard to put into an algorithm. I mean, that's where we are now. So who knows?
Yeah, practical reality is that
David?
algorithmic trading dominates the markets, the exchanges. If you look at the micro data micro market structure data, there'll be 1,000 trades a second, 10,000 trades a second offered. But you as an individual never see them. They just flash up for a millisecond for other computers to see, trying to elicit responses out of those other computers. And then the sending computer has more information to make decisions on how other computers are programmed so that it knows better how to trade. And this is just a cat and mouse game that is played back and forth constantly behind the scenes that we don't see. Tons of trades, huge trades occur off the market in dark pools. Like our market is open Eastern time from 9:30 to 4. Well, there's a ton of trading that occurs before then that we never see. There is no price discovery. You don't see the size or the price that the deal's done at. So to me, this is all illegal. Should be illegal. The law requires price discovery, that for every trade, this number of shares traded and the price be disclosed to the market. You've seen the stock tickers, the old New York stock tickers. That's where that got started. Because
Didn't you have those at UNCW?
Yes, we actually do have one in one of the main rooms I teach in. And I hate teaching in that room. It's got a live ticker that's going all the time.
What a distraction.
Yeah, it's a big distraction, but it's a room where you're sitting on desk and you've got two computer screens in front of you. And we call it the trading room, though we don't actually teach trading in it per se. Funny story, or kind of funny story.
That's unfortunate.
Is up at the teaching station, I've got a software program where I can literally take over every student's computer and look at what they're viewing and flash it up on the screen. And that program costs about $80,000 a year. You know why we got this program and why we do this expense? Well, the back of that room, it's a big room, is all glass. And the chancellor will bring like the board of trustees and governors and major donors on tours and show off, quote unquote, that room, that technology in that room. Well, one time during one of these tours with the chancellor, a student on the back row, right in front of him, was watching a porn flick. So the school since then, for the past 8 years, has been spending $80,000 a year on a software program where we can control what the students see or viewing or kill their computer. So now you know.
Yeah, no wonder our tuition went up. Wow.
Yeah, that's
Lovely.
just.
I know, right?
You know what? What the hell are you thinking? I just don't know.
That's just messed up.
Yeah.
Well,
But that
Brentwood is
was,
kind of getting at what I was thinking. Go ahead.
no,
No.
go ahead.
I'm having trouble hearing. I'm getting like every 2 or 3 words.
Okay.
AI doesn't have that gut feeling, yes, but if AI can manipulate the market, it doesn't need a gut feeling, correct?
Well, now understand
answer?
AI again. Are you really talking about an artificial intelligence, or are you just talking about faster computers? We've had computers
No, I'm
controlling
talking
the
open.
market.
I think you were gone when I asked this question. I'm talking about open AI.
Yeah, that's
in the
just
market.
one particular AI. There's tons of them being created or utilized.
Right. But if you the black box, you told me about the black box.
Yeah.
If you have open AI or several in there, it doesn't need a gut feeling, does it? I mean, it can just manipulate the market any way it wants to.
I mean, computers have been doing that for several years. There's nothing
Okay.
new about that.
Yeah.
It's one reason why I oppose computer trading, algorithmic trading. I personally would like to see us go back to the market maker system. It would be slower,
Yeah, I would like to see that too,
quote unquote, maybe not as liquid,
but it would be more honest.
but yeah, it would be fairer. It would be more, everybody would have the same information, be able to make the same decisions. Right now, that is not the case. And that's the whole idea behind, for example, insider trading laws, is to prevent asymmetric information, where one person has more and better information on a stock than another person. You're supposed to disclose all relevant information. Not to do that is a felony, or to trade on information that's not publicly available is a felony. So computers
Well, I'm so glad
actually
that
constantly trade on information that's not publicly available. The information they get from other computers and trades and reactions, etc. And there's no way that you as an individual can effectively assimilate, process, and react to that information. So there is asymmetric information that is being traded on every second, every minute, all day long. And sometimes this asymmetric trading, computers will see a large block coming down the pipeline. Well, they'll get their order in ahead of it. The price goes up a penny or two, a nickel a share, and then they sell their order. So they effectively make a nickel off of your large block trade. You buy or sell a large number of shares, a large block trade. But the thing is, if computers can do this, it's not uncommon. In fact, it's very common for you to place an order. You want to buy 100 shares of something, and you see the price at $100. Well, you put in your order at $100, and when it's executed, it comes back $100, 5 cents. And you think, no big deal. Is those computers skimming a few cents off of your trade? Now, if you as a computer
do that a
are
million
able
times
to
a day.
do, let's just do easy math. You do this, there's 1,000 trades a second, and you do it 1,000 times a second. Well, that's $50 a second. Times 60, that's $3,000 a minute. Times 60 is $180,000 an hour. Times 7.5 hours in a day, times 320 trading days in a year, you're looking at some serious money that's just being skimmed off the top. And that's not informed trading. The consumers don't know that's happening, so that's being withheld from them. I just am irritated at the whole system, to be honest. If I were king, a lot of this would be done away with. Now, people say, oh, computers provide liquidity. I'm sorry, popping up a trade for a millisecond, a tenth, a thousandth of a second, is not providing liquidity, because you can't react to it. You can't buy a trade on that offer. That's not providing liquidity. That's just providing noise. And effective, efficient trading isn't furthered by additional noise in the system. My opinion.
I think Zach and David look like they're in class. They're like, okay.
They're used to me ranting.
Yeah. Now this is really only going on in stocks, right?
Oh, it's in bonds too. It's in fixed income too.
It's also in fixed income?
Yeah. So David, one thing I want to say, then I've got a question too for you if you've still got some time.
Yep.
Ellen
Hmm.
sent me a picture.
Yes. Oh,
So I thought I would go ahead and put that up. That's her grandfather and
Huh.
his wife.
Oh, that's awesome.
So
yeah,
he's
he's 96 years old,
Wow.
and he's
And she-
freaking amazing. I mean, he's just, and she's 84, I think, 85, 84.
Yeah. That's a cute couple. But he's a good dude. He's been good to Ellen.
They are sweet.
So
Mm-hmm.
David, I want to ask you,
So,
what is your favorite what are your favorite indicators if there's more than one? And how do you trade off of them? How often do you look to trade?
Yeah, I'd definitely say moving averages are probably my favorite. I don't necessarily use them as a buy or sell indicator. I primarily use them as a trend indicator. So a lot of my personal hobby in trading involves scanning the market for stocks that meet specific criteria. And in almost every scan I do, that typically involves price being above 2, 3, 4 moving averages. That's just letting me know that price is trending in the right direction, being upwards. I like to get involved in stocks that are going up, not down. So that's why I like
So
to
you
scan.
trade momentum.
Exactly. Yep. And momentum is one of those things where you might win 20% of your trades, but if you're trading at a 10-to-1 risk reward ratio, you're going to be profitable. So moving averages are definitely my primary indicator. But in terms of actually using signals for buying and selling, I usually stick to price action, which is drawing support and resistance zones, drawing trend lines, things of that nature. So I do add in some RSI and MACD from time to time, but I'd say moving averages are probably my favorite.
Now, Zach, you'll have to forgive me. I was doing the cat intervention thing. When you started talking, did you tell us a little bit about your background and where you are now?
I did. Yeah. I did give a brief intro. I did.
So are you starting to trade fixed income? Or...
Yeah. So actually, I'm in a sales seat right now. So essentially, I mean, what I'm doing is I'm the intermediary between the traders of all the products and the clients. Like the traders aren't on the phone, they're not in chats, they're not talking to clients, they're watching their book of inventory that they were handed and they're managing that. That's about all they do. Kind of my role is to know everybody's inventory, know what traders like, know what traders want, then know what clients want, know what their inventory like. So our biggest clients are banks, insurance companies, pension funds. You know, we have, I think, a Lutheran fund, huge, you know, just these big money managers. And it's my job to know, well, I got to know what they want. I got to put myself in their shoes, be like, what would I want right now? If I were them, do I want to be selling things? Do I want to be buying certain things? Do my traders have those? And then kind of just
make the marriage.
Right. Yeah, that's the goal. Also, and I'm a junior guy.
Zach, I don't. Yep, I don't envy you. That is a big job.
No,
I mean,
it's
David. Yours is very technical and very detail oriented, but Zach, you have to like know what everybody in the world wants.
right. Yeah. No, for sure, definitely. And thankfully, I mean, I'm in a junior seat right now, so that's not like they're looking at me for operational stuff. Primarily, just don't miss trades, don't miss new issue, make sure everything's booked in the system. But then I'm slowly learning the ways of some. Like they threw me on a team. I'm shoulder to shoulder with my boss, and you know they're teaching me, hey, this client, he likes to do this. and that's kind of how I've been learning. It's good. I've been enjoying it. It's a lot of work, but it's very, very interesting and fun, and I have a good team, so that always helps.
Zach is very humble
We'll talk
about.
about reading the room.
Zach is very humble about his
I mean,
mission. I tell everybody that he's kind of like the pinnacle of what a lot of finance guys like to aim for coming out of college. And I've met some of his coworkers, and I can say that he's definitely the most humble out of them. But he's in a good spot.
I bet
to do that job.
Yeah, I'll second that emotion
Yeah,
without popping into
that's a tough
was that four
position.
tops.
No, it's good.
Zach is an extremely bright.
No, it is, but it's like, hang on, Clay. But it's like you have so many landmines that you could step on, trying to learn what everybody wants of you
Mhm.
and what you're supposed to produce. And I don't think you give yourself enough credit at all. I mean, that is tough.
No, yeah, it is, but
You-
I mean, it's good. I've been learning a lot, and I think that's
That's
at
good.
my age, that's one of the biggest things for me.
Yeah, really.
Mhm.
For the next, I just had a kid come to me ask if I would supervise an internship for him. It's a remote internship. And, to me, the goal is there's some kids that just want remote internships. And I'm like, no, because in this business, your future, your opportunities are going to be based off who you know and who you've been able to build good relationships with. It's very much a people industry. And if you're remote, you don't build those relationships. You don't get a mentor. You don't develop that reputation among people. Zach, how many people are on the trading floor at Wells?
I'd probably say around 1,000 people. There's probably maybe 800 to 1,000 people on my floor.
Wow.
Okay. He will develop reasonably good relationships, or his quality will be known by at least several hundred of those, if not more, over the next year, 2 years. And as those people spread out and go to different firms, different positions or whatever, a lot of times they're going to have openings, and they're going to want somebody, one, that they're comfortable with, two, that they know that has the tools and the basic skills to fit into that position and adapt to whatever unique circumstances will arise in the execution of its duties. And so really your first few years, yeah, you want to be the first one in the office, the last one out. You want to establish your reputation that will inure to your benefit for the next 40 years and open doors you can't imagine and don't anticipate.
Right.
And so, and David's, in the same boat. So it's good to, and both of y'all with very well respected firms. So it's, it's good that you're finding a mentor, that you're developing personal relationships, et cetera. And I try to communicate this to some of the kids coming up who are used to remote studies and remote education and, remote test taking for whatever good that does. They're going to have a lousy future if they don't get out and meet people. Bottom line. So,
all right.
Proud of you both.
So, David, can we hear more about MACD? He is proud of you guys.
MACD. Yeah, so like I kind of had mentioned, really crossovers are the primary use of why people use MACD. It is a lagging indicator along with RSI.
All right, you got to explain.
Sure.
All right, you got to understand
La-
that a lot of us know nothing about finance. What does
So
a cross
lagging
say?
indicator.
What is lagging indicator? What does that mean? You got to help us out here.
I got you. Let me pull up my screen again here. So lagging, what this means is basically every different indicator, whether that be MACD, RSI, they're going to be following price action. So these aren't things that update instantly in the market. So momentum is a big driver of price in the market. And these are the MACD and the RSI track that momentum. So they're tracking over a set amount of periods in the past.
David,
Sorry.
what is RSI?
She will keep you honest.
Go for it. Yeah. RSI is the relative strength index, which was the other indicator we had talked about. Oversold and overbought are the primary uses of that. But both indicators basically are a few periods ahead or behind price action, meaning whatever happened in the market today, that's going to show in these indicators in a few days from now, because it's tracking previous data rather than what's going on right now.
Okay.
But yeah, so these crossovers, I wish I could zoom in here. Unfortunately, I cannot because this is a slideshow, but there's two different moving averages on there. Now, when the short-term moving average, let's say the last 5 days, for example, when that crosses above the 10-period moving average, that's going to be a bullish cross. So when you see when the short-term line crosses above the longer-term line, that's going to be your indication that price action might be shifting up. So really,
I'm going to interrupt you again. I'm
Sure.
sorry. You said the 5-day and 10 period, or
yeah. So there's different settings.
what is the period?
Yeah, the period's going to be tracking price over the last 5 days. So, for example, the 5-day moving average, that's going to be the last 5 days of price, the average of those 5. The 10-day is going to be the average price of the last 10 days of price. So typically the thought in the market is when your shorter term average is crossing above your longer term average, then there's going to be more buyers than sellers at that certain moment, which in turn, the goal of technical analysis would be to say that that's going to make price continue to go up, which is kind of the base theory behind it. Yeah, really looking for that crossover is kind of the main goal of using the MACD.
Yeah, and let me offer a little bit on leading and lagging indicators. A leading indicator is something that's used to predict or anticipate future movements in the market or a stock. A lagging indicator is based on historical data, things, movements that have already occurred that normally are used to confirm a anticipated movement. So one is they're both indicators in terms of having some sort of value at predicting and determining strategies. But a leading one is, anticipating a future move. A lagging one kind of confirms that it is that move. One's for prediction, one's for confirmation, if that makes sense. Crazy Cat Queen, word of advice about working hard. Do not sleep in the office. You'll give the janitorial staff a heart attack and you'll be awakened by a scream. That's me, I know. Yeah, I actually, when I was trading, we would, after we closed out our books, all the traders would head out to this watering hole and we'd while the night away. Sometimes might finish up at 2 or 3 in the morning. And so I would usually keep an extra shirt or two in my desk. So there would be times because my days would normally start, 6 o'clock going through the European and Asian markets and, reading, new releases, research reports, or whatever. And so there are a lot of times I would go into the office and just plop down on the desk and, nap for an hour or two and then get up, change shirts, start another day. It was a hell of a life. KP, I can attest to that. I scare the janitorial staff when I work late. They don't expect to see me there. Y'all must be some sneaky little people, because when I'm working or bouncing around, I
But
don't.
when you're at your desk, you're not making any noise. You're just in your office, just doing your thing.
Oh, I make noise at my desk, usually cussing when something doesn't turn out the way I
You make
want.
noise. You make noise all the time. You have
Yelling at the
professors come
computer.
and check on your class because you're yelling at them so loud.
Yeah, I literally had the dean and associate dean walking the halls come down and enter my class because I was yelling at them for doing poorly on one of my exams. Did not feel like they gave it the proper consideration or effort as a class. So
Were you guys in that class?
Thankfully, no.
No.
But I was still in camera. I was still in the same school of business. We could feel the ground rumbling and shaking because that class was like a few doors over.
Oh, good Lord.
yeah, I've actually put my fist in the wall, punched a hole in the wall, the whiteboard.
Really?
Yeah. And I broke one of the lectern. I picked up a lectern and slammed it down on the ground. I was kind of feeling my oats and it splintered. So
That's awesome.
Moffat,
yeah, that's what they get for buying cheap ass
I mean-
equipment.
I've seen you walk in and kick off your shoes. Yeah, cheap ass equipment. Brentwood, she's taking notes on you guys. So everything you're saying, it's
Sweet.
been absorbed. Oh, I'm trying. Okay. I think you
Fact,
and I are
David, watering
fighting for
hole
the.
serves, not water drinks. Trust me, they are well experienced in that. They've
Red
probably
Dog.
been, yeah, they've probably been to Red Dogs. Red Dogs y'all have been to Red Dogs, correct? At least once. You don't have to.
David, you been to Red Dogs?
That was my second home.
Red Dogs is kind of legendary around us. It's one of the beach
closed
bars.
for a while after.
Yeah,
I would
it's
go.
one of the
Actually,
beach bars.
Clay and I on our first. Wait, hey, you and I on our
Ellen-
first date actually went to Jimmy's at Red Dogs.
It's a good spot.
Yeah, but Red Dogs is up above,
Jimmy's.
and I
Yep.
would.
They
I
were
will
closed
always mock
for a
Red
long time.
Dogs in
And
my
Jimmy
class.
bought it.
Hold on here. There you go. I will always mock Red Dogs in my class because years ago in Surf Magazine,
Asshole.
Red Dogs was listed as the number one place on the East Coast to pick up an STD. And so, sometimes
To
the
what?
students or whatever will come in dragging
hear
or
it.
groggy or whatever, and I can tell whether or not they're high or hungover. So if they're hungover, I'm like, Red Dogs have a special last night or what? And so I'm always kind of using Red Dogs as an example or some source of grief. And so students are always inviting me, you got to come to Red Dogs. You got to come to Red Dogs. So years ago, I finally thought I need to go so I know what I'm talking about. So told them I'd come, and they say, we got to come about midnight. I said, midnight, really? And they say, yeah, Nobody's there till then.
Pre-game
So-
starts at 10.
So I put on my, full body condom and head to Red Dogs at midnight. We walk up the steps.
No, we didn't.
There's really nobody in there. Even at midnight, we're early. And so I think, okay, what's the big deal? It's kind of like a small little room. It has a little elevated platform and a foosball table on it. So, and they've got a drink. It's called a fish bowl. Hell if I know what's in it, but I think it's a little bit of everything. And I had, the students offered to buy me one or whatever, and I'm like, no, thank you. I'll just take, cran grape juice or whatever. And so I got my cran grape juice, turned around. The place was just about full. I mean, it was like butt cheek to butt cheek. Felt like I was getting groped trying to get through the crowd, for good or for bad. But so I make my way to the foosball table, play a game of foosball. I am undefeated in Red Dogs at foosball. I have never lost at foosball and Red Dogs. So I'm there 10, 15 minutes, and I think I've experienced Red Dogs at a sufficient enough level that, what I say about it is justified. Place is packed. I mean, it's seriously a fight for air.
I agree.
And so I figure my time there is up. I mean, it's kind of obvious when you've got, a professor there wandering around a bar with a bunch of, most of them are probably 17, 18, 19-year-old. I imagine 2/3 the crowd had illegal IDs.
Yeah, they're supposed to be 21.
Yeah. So would y'all think most of them are underage?
Not anymore. I don't know when you went, but they've cracked down on fake IDs recently.
Okay.
I think all around the U.S. I'm not sure what it is, but all bouncers now they'll be able to look at it for half a second and they'll tell you it's fake or real or not. I'm sure they caught on to something, but
I was at one of the surf shop years ago, and girl was delivering a fake ID to another young lady. So I almost asked if I could get one, showing me to be about 25 years old or something, but figured I could have some fun with that.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Oh, please.
But yeah,
I went with my neighbor. Her daughter was 22, I think, and she had all of her friends over. So I was living in Wrightsville Beach, and so they pre-gamed, and they were like, you gotta come. So we both went to Red Dogs. I was like, I can't move. I just was handed this huge fish bowl, drank it. I'm like, okay, whatever. But we were like, we are too freaking old to be here. This is like ridiculous.
Yeah.
But Jimmy's, I dig.
Jimmy's
But
down
I know
below is a
Jimmy
little bit
Keaton.
more chill, a little bit more adult
And I know
vibe kind
Keaton.
of thing.
So yeah.
You've got all the snotty nosed kids upstairs. You've got the adults down at Jimmy's.
Yep.
Dr. Moffitt, you sound like a fun professor. I know I enjoy the hell out of my job. I'll do that.
He is fun. He is scary, and he is a little bit off the rails at times, in my opinion. I've been to his classes, but you guys, how is he as a professor? Be honest. He can't grade you anymore.
He's good. I remember first class, I was a little scared, but by the end, I was like, all right, he's a good professor.
He'll hit you with an occasional boom, scare the hell out of you, but
Yeah.
it's not too bad.
Oh, I know. I live in the same house he does, so I know. He loves to scare the shit out of me. But
She's caught a few booms. Crazy cat. Damn,
Mhm.
Clay, you don't strike me as a punch the wall kind of guy. I fractured my hand punching a wall in Iraq. We also had this bend thick nail, so my medics put a sign stating I was responsible. Yeah, there's a certain technique to throwing a punch. You want to
Okay,
make
so
sure your
Crazy
radio
Cat
and
Queen
owner aren't
was an
crossed.
MD.
Do what?
Crazy Cat Queen was an MD in the military.
Well, thank you for your
So you
service.
guys know who that is.
Yes.
She's a sweetheart. Military grog bowl.
That's really appropriate. That's probably the best description. Supposed to be.
Yeah.
Good job. You want them scared of you. I want them scared of not doing their best. You know, I want them scared of not
Yeah,
giving
that's
a
true.
damn. I tell them, you know, if they care, I care. You know, I give them my cell phone number. If they, you know, have a problem or whatever, they can call me. But if they don't care, I don't give a damn. I'll flunk them back to junior high. It all depends on them. You know, I'll do my job as best I can. I know I don't say I'm a good teacher. I want to be. I try to be. I care. If they have a question, I try to find a way to explain it so that it makes sense. That's my job. But they've got to take the first step. They've got to let me know there's a problem or something they don't understand. If they can't work the problems, they need to get their, excuse me, their happy little ass in my office, or, you know, shoot me a text or an email or something. They need to make the first step. After that, it's my job to figure out a way to effectively communicate it to them so that it does make sense. Try to, you know, help
And that's
them
one
learn.
of the things, yeah, that I really respect about Clay is, you know, his students, some of them are like, damn it, I got to take his class or whatever. But if you show an ounce of interest in what he's saying, and if you care to learn, he worries about you at night. I mean, he's like, okay, how do I do this? How do I explain this? How do I make this more understandable? I mean, he worries about his students, and I know he loves both of you guys. I mean, he talks about the students that he loves, and I have heard of both of you many times. He's proud of you when you walk away, knowing that he has helped you in some way, shape, or form with a little bit of knowledge, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. And y'all could call him anytime and he'd still answer the phone and he'd still answer your questions and talk to you and tell you anything you want to know. I hope you guys know that.
Yeah. I mean, we just all met at the Fat Pelican 2 months ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, you know, sometimes when
that's the one I didn't
when
go
they come
to.
back in town, we'll go grab a beer, though I'm not really much of a beer dude. I'll drink like a Guinness because it tastes like burnt coffee, and I can do that. It doesn't suck as much as the rest of beer. But the Fat P is a great little hole in the wall place. It's a unique little place. Crazy Cat Queen, you want them to be scared of failing at life. Also, if you scare the hell out of them first, then relax in order to show them you care.
Mm-hmm.
I just, you know, like I say, I just want them giving a damn. I want them willing to put forth some effort to master things that will inure to their benefit for the next 40 years. I can't, and Zach and David will, you know, will tell you, I can't really teach them exactly what they need for their jobs. There's thousands and thousands of different jobs in finance. Every house, every company will have a different way of doing things. So what try to do is to teach them a basic skill set, a basic toolbox of things that they can then apply in different situations. Give them a base of knowledge that hopefully will equip them to adapt quickly to whatever unique circumstances or unique methods they may encounter at their respective employees. Zach took the fixed income course, which I honestly think is a modestly challenging course. But it's a small class. That's one thing, and you can tell about these two. I wish these were representative of all my students. That they're obviously not, but most of my courses are electives. The fixed income course is an elective, and it has a reputation of being a modestly difficult course. So I only get students in there who want to work, who want to learn about this area. David took a blockchain course from me. I think it's challenging in a lot of ways. There's a fair amount of data, and it's a different type of data than what they're used to seeing and dealing with in finance. Different type of information.
Wait,
So you've got to be prepared to do some work in there.
David took your first crypto class?
Yes.
David, I worked very hard on that class. Actually, myself and a friend of mine who is in finance. The Christmas before he started that class, we sat there in front of him and we were in Virginia. We were like, okay, tell us what it is. Okay, too complicated. Dumb it down. And we kept going until we got him to the point where like, okay, now anyone can understand it, because he was like 10 steps beyond what even someone in finance could grasp. So
It's a different concept.
Do what?
Actually-
Zach actually was able to take it before I did, so I think he was in that first class and helped give me some pointers before starting.
You were the first class, Zach.
I was correct.
Yeah. And David was in the second.
It was a great course.
Okay,
It
gotcha,
really was.
gotcha.
Yeah. And, as far as
It was
toning it down, I think basically I ended up explaining it enough times that night to the two of them that it started making sense, and they thought I was simplifying it.
Yeah. No, we were just
Yep.
like, no, you're starting with words that even she has like what her, what's the last test she took? She's an accountant, and she was like, yeah, I don't get it.
It's
So we
kind
just
of a
kept saying, dumb it
specialized
down.
field. It's not something
It
that
is.
you come across. Neither the blockchain nor the fixed income. When I was doing the fixed income, looking at it, and I checked on it a few years later, there were only 13 other universities in the country that were teaching something similar. And I think the same in blockchain. I don't think many schools in finance have a blockchain course. Now, a lot of schools will offer something in blockchain, but it's a programming course. It's how to program in Python with an eye towards coding a blockchain. It's not a finance course in blockchain. And I thought about trying to incorporate some coding, but there really wasn't the time or the ability, and there's enough other material to cover otherwise. And, I'm still refining it. What I taught David was a little different than what I covered with Zach, and will be a little different it's taught in the spring. Will be a little different this time. So I keep revising it.
Did a lot of people sign up for the one upcoming?
They haven't started enrolling for spring yet.
Right. Okay. Yeah. I didn't think about that.
Yeah, I've got it capped at 25. And, occasionally if somebody comes in and asks for an override, we'll give it. I think there were originally 26 or 27 in David's class. So one or two of those dropped out. A couple of those dropped out during the year. So don't really know. Now, fixed income, even smaller class. Crazy Cat Queen. I think the most important thing I taught, other than medicine-specific people skills, bedside manners, is how to go about finding the answers. That's the skill that crosses all the disciplines. You know, I look at learning knowledge, acquiring knowledge, trying to develop wisdom as an ongoing process, a lifelong process. You know, if you stop learning, you're dead. So I think humans are gifted with a natural hunger. I think we do a pretty good job of killing that in schools, elementary, high school, maybe even universities. But people should have a natural inquisitiveness, and that should be encouraged. There are things, avenues, whatever. I mean, my tastes are a little esoteric.
shouldn't-
Like a lot of my books are on theology or philosophy, military history, you know, Roman Greek mythology. My undergraduate's in biochemistry. So I have, if I can refer to them as somewhat eclectic taste, but to each their own. But the thing is, always keep learning. Always look for answers.
You should teach how to think and not what to think. How to come up with your own answers. I mean, that's a good skill to teach. How to go about finding the answers. That is
you
how
can't really teach
to think.
somebody a hunger. They have to have that hunger, or they have to want to develop that hunger. And to me, once you start being hungry for knowledge, it does end up feeding on itself, because you start to be, I want to say impressed. I can't think of a better word, but impressed with some of the things you learn or see. You start admiring some of the knowledge that is out there and available. So I can't really teach somebody to want to learn. I can teach them how to do research. I can teach them how to track down information. I can give them some examples of how I process, and I try to, how I process information, like primary, secondary, and tertiary. Seek out information and process it. But there is just so much out there that it's really up to the individual to have a natural curiosity about life and the wonders around them. And there really are miracles occurring constantly around us that we have the opportunity to see, to experience, and to learn from. Crazy Cat Queen, never let schooling interfere with your education. Yes, Mark Twain spitting out gospel. And you know, I'm obviously not a fan of much of the modern educational system, but that's a topic for a different day.
Well, shoot.
Brentwood, one of the biggest lessons I was taught to serve me well is knowing when to speak. A smart person knows what to say. A wise person knows whether to say it or not. I've been oftentimes wanting to say
smart, plays wise.
I've been oftentimes want to say there is great wisdom in silence. And sometimes it is better not to speak. I think the Bible talks about casting pearls before swine. You know, there is a time and a place. Not everywhere, not every time. And don't let Ellen fool you. She's got a pretty good damn head on her shoulders.
No, thank you. You know, I have spent quite a few hours with my grandfather this past weekend, or this whatever it is. I left Sunday, so in silence, and he would just grab my hand and just hold it, and that was enough. I mean, it's like you don't have to say anything. And it was just really cool. He's a good dude.
Yeah, some of the best memories I have are with my father. We would sometimes on Sunday afternoon, he'd just look at me and say, "You want to go for a drive?" And so I say, "Sure." And we get in the car, and a lot of times wouldn't say anything. We just hit an intersection, flip a coin, go left, right, or whatever, and just randomly drive. We discover some cool little things, old train wrecks, old farms, pretty streams, whatever. It was just, he was just spending time with me. And that's really some of my best memories, even though there wasn't a whole lot said. Crazy Cat Queen, I think you can teach some hunger. It's about infecting them with your enthusiasm and enjoyment of a subject. Not everyone, of course, but I think it happens. Hence my crazy nomadic education. Kind of agree, kind of, I think.
Listen, Crazy Cat
I
Queen.
don't know if I can actually teach somebody that hunger. I would probably more try to attribute to uncovering or freeing the hunger that's within them. Either way, I do think being around people that value, we talked earlier about picking your friends and how so much of your response, your development in life is the people that you choose to associate with and spend your time with. And picking, friends who are hungry, who want to learn, who value information, knowledge, and the development of wisdom. I think that's a big key. So I agree with you in general.
That's why it's so cool that Zach and David are remakes, because you have different sides of the coin, so to speak, that you're into, but you hang out with each other, and I'm sure you learn from each other.
Oh yeah.
Well, I think they reinforce good.
Yeah.
I think they reinforce good disciplines in each other.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely.
They both share kind of the same basic values.
Sort of aspects of the different sides of the same coin, which is kind of cool because you can share information and be like, "This is what I learned today. This is what I found out today," or and it's neat. It's cool to see two guys that are just really wanting. They will take over the world, Brentwood. I see. That's kind of what I wanted to say. You two could, because you really, you both have a passion, even though it's a different area of that passion for each of you, and it's so complementary in that you hang out with each other and can learn things from each other, and of course Moffat's always here for you. So
I'm kind of going to probably get myself in deep water here, but these are two dudes. They don't come home every evening and go, "Hey darling, how was your day? What happened today?
I didn't mean that.
What'd you learn
not
today?
where I was going.
What'd you experience today? What'd you learn? Any life lessons?"
But they got to talk about, like,
it's like, you get home and you look, damn, you're ugly. This is what I have to come home to.
We do talk about markets in our free time. It's something we actually enjoy. So
earlier today, I saw someone from my company was talking to someone from his company. I was like, "David, do you know this?" I think Mark or something. I was like, "You know this Mark guy?" And he was like, "Oh yeah, I know what floor he sits on or something. I'll reach out and say what's up." So yeah, when we're always talking throughout the day and definitely learning.
See?
Group hug.
Clay, you turd.
And, Brentwood, I really do expect these dudes to pay tons in taxes. That to me is about as good of a compliment as I give professionally.
Clay Moffat, you are such a turd sometimes. And I can say that.
So obviously, what she learns from me, a pile of shit.
Yeah. Okay.
The encouragement for the night.
I want to
pay
have
all the
both
taxes.
of you on again. Whenever whenever you want to, whenever you can. If you guys want to come on and talk about anything and do whatever. However, it is past my bedtime. Y'all can go on as long as you want to, but I have been working my little ass off all day and I am so tired and I have to take a bath and do all the things. So
I feel
I love
that
all of you. I love all the people in the chat. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Do what?
Yeah, no, yeah. Thanks for
feel
having us. I mean, this was really great. Yeah, I definitely feel I'm a
Y'all
little
don't
tired.
have to go, but I gotta go.
I got
Head
you.
on out. You,
Nice
you
to
earned
meet
it. We won't dock your pay.
Love you guys.
Get out of here. Good
Everybody. I gotta roll. I know.
Sounds
I
good.
am. I'm going.
night. Bless her heart. She has had a hectic few days, but she has definitely made a difference in their lives. So very happy for her. It wasn't quite the reunion she expected or was anticipating, but I think in many ways it's been even more rewarding and a hell of a good memory for everybody. So,
Mhm.
and it is, we normally try to keep this to a couple hours. It's getting close. David, Zach, really appreciate you guys taking the time to be with us and join us tonight. Damn good to see you.
It's good. Yeah, it's good to see you and hear from you as well. I mean, you let us know if you need us in the future or if you want us back on. But yeah, this was good. It was good talking to you.
Yeah, would love to have y'all back on as things progress, or you come across something that you think might be of interest.
Right.
Holler at me.
Right.
Would love to have you guys on. Crazy Cat Queen Ellen's just expressing how she envisioned their wholesome interaction after work versus the reality of home beer, football games, and at commercials. Some work talk.
We got football coming up. Go.
War damn Eagle. Finally,
I'm getting
got
tickets
it.
this week for Indiana versus Auburn basketball in December.
That's right.
Tickets
We
are
might
up
have to try to crash that game.
I'm going. So
Where is it?
Georgia, Atlanta.
That's right. Are there still tickets available? Do you know?
The War Eagles. It's going to be great. It's going to be a good time.
Might have to try to do that. But thank you all. Really appreciate you too. Appreciate y'all being with us and sharing the time and the broadcast. Crazy Cat, Brentwood, KP, hey Melissa. Obviously not everybody has participated in the chat, and if you're not on the chat, I don't really know that you've been watching. To those on the replay crew that'll catch us over the next couple days, thank you as well. 1 2 3 4 cheerful. Appreciate it. So y'all get out of here. Go have a good night. Week ahead. Don't forget Saturday night, 7:00. And if you will, don't forget to hit the like, subscribe button if you're not subscribed. And we'll talk to you again sometime soon. Appreciate it very much, y'all. My time is up. I thank you for yours. Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.